First of all, what I wanted to do was really express my sympathies towards Councilmember Selena Reyes. She did a lot to get elected. She went through a lot of work. She got elected and she got on and she was trying to be effective. I did see her situation. I thought it was a very difficult situation. Studying law, coming to council meetings and having a kid. I thought it'd be an impossible situation for anybody to do, and unfortunately, it was for her. But I do feel for her, and I wish she had had a chance to, stay on longer. My name is Ken Pond, and mostly what I want to tell you about me is I'm more of a change maker type person. I know when I get involved with stuff, it's because I want to make a difference. I'm not looking for a position. I'm not looking to be somebody or be anywhere. When I started doing stuff at the schools, it's because I saw there were issues at the schools. We needed buildings fixed. We needed buildings painted, and I wanted to do something about that. That's how I got on the school board there, was doing that kind of thing. Uh, Downtown Association. I was part of the Downtown Association. You know why I joined that association? Because there weren't people coming downtown to, spend their money downtown. Nobody's coming downtown. We needed to have something to do, and we got a group of people together who want to do something, and we got people. We changed downtown so that people would actually come and visit downtown. That's long enough.
Perfect. So at this point in time, Council Member Bowen, we will start with you.
Hi, Ken. My first question to you is, can you tell me about a time when you've had to make a difficult decision and speak to the process and your considerations?
I guess the most difficult decision when I was on the school board, probably it was the first year being on the school board. I was a brand new member of the board. I was the only one that was not an incumbent. We had an issue at the high school. There was a drama teacher who did plays and performances at the schools, and he had the kids do something called Breakfast Club. And some of the parents started talking to me about, do you know they're teaching kids profanity there? And they shouldn't be doing that. All right. And there were a lot of parents very emotionally upset about that because they didn't want their kids to go to school to do that sort of thing. So we brought it up at a board meeting, and some of the teachers came out and they said, well, it's okay because it's real life. This is what people do. They use profanity all the time. All right. So we had a lot of meetings where there were a lot of upset parents, people who voted for me. We had a lot of upset teachers, because they wanted to be able to do what they want to do. So I had this difficult decision. What do I think? And, who am I going to piss off? I mean, that's basically what it amounts to. You're going to lose somebody as a friend. So we went through that process. We listened to every side. And I remember the night we were supposed to make the decision. The TV station, KTVU, was there. They had cameras there. They wanted to know what we're going to do, what we're going to say. Okay, and so you could see the cameras looking at you, and each board member had to, say what they're going to say. And the only person they put on TV was me, because I was the new one. And they knew what the other people were going to say, but it was me. All right, so I said, so what do I think about this? How do I feel about it? And I said, what I told them was, we shouldn't be teaching profanity. If you want to express anger, you need to express it in a way that's acceptable in our community. You don't need to teach kids profanity. They can learn it on their own. So I said that, and it got on TV. But it was a hard decision because a lot of teachers were upset with me. Teachers I thought would be, I thought the honeymoon would last longer than just a few months. But these teachers got upset because I went against them. But the parents, most of them liked me. All right. So in a sense, that's when I learned you got to make the tough decision. You got to say what you think is right, and let the chips fall where they may.
Thank you, Ken. And then my next question for you is, addressing quality of life issues are critical to the satisfaction of residents. What concerns do you see in District 1 in particular? And can you please share some specific strategies that the city can take?
Well, when you say quality of life, the first thing that comes to my mind is traffic congestions around all the schools. You can't get around the community. In District 1, there's too many schools around. You got to come down to Estudillo. You have to go down Bancroft. There's cars backed up. People are upset because they can't drop their kids off. People are upset because they can't get to work. They can't get through town. So that I think is probably the most visible quality of life issue that I see. Of course, public safety is the other one, but you don't see it unless it happens to you. You just kind of read about it. So, so I'll tell you about what I know. My strategy for that is I would like to get the kids to ride their bicycles to school. I would like the parents to ride my two-wheel moped type thing, put the kid on a moped, 2 wheels, and take your kid to school if you're going to do that sort of thing. That's my little solution.
So I'll go to Councilmember Blue, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ken, congratulations on making it this far.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions for you. We have 4 minutes. If the first question you're still answering at about the 2-minute mark, I'm just going to put my hand up just so you have a visual cue that I have a second question I'd like to ask. So there are 5 of you competing for this position tonight. Besides yourself, which one of the other 4 applicants do you consider the most qualified for this appointment and why?
It won't take very long to answer that question because I really don't know the other candidates that well. I did not have a chance to read their resumes or questionnaires that they put in. So I really can't answer that question. But I will tell you this. I did get to talk to some of these other people in the room. And one of the ladies said, well, I'm not even educated. I don't have a college education, that sort of thing. I'm looking at her. I said, you know what? You have a different education than what everybody else has. You made it to this level for a reason. Okay. And that's not because you went to some big school, little school, or whatever it is. It's because you brought something to the table that maybe they see is good for our community. So I guess if there was anybody, it would be that person. And I'm sorry, I don't remember her name.
Okay, thank you. And the second question I have is if appointed, what is your plan to conscientiously represent all 90,000 plus residents of San Leandro and not be unduly influenced by a small number of activists who do not necessarily speak for or represent the values of the 90,000 plus San Leandrins? Please be specific.
Repeat the question because I lost the first part of what you were saying.
Yeah, if appointed, what's your plan to conscientiously represent all 90,000 plus residents of San Leandro and not be unduly influenced by a small number of activists who do not necessarily speak for or represent the values of all 90,000 plus San Leandrins? Please be specific.
So I think that's the example I gave you of when I was on school board really tells you the way I think. I do hear what people say. I look to hear what's the message they're trying to tell me. Because I know people will express anger at you, they express their personal feelings, their experiences and whatever. But I always look to see, so what are they trying to tell me that I maybe have not taken into consideration in my thought process? I try to get around the emotional side of comments. I try to get into why they're saying what they're saying and see how that fits into what I know other people, or at least what I think other people agree with. And I try to factor that in. And if there's a way to include that person's or those people's desires, I would try to do that. I'm one who tries to find compromise. I try to find a solution that works for as many people as possible. And if there's something that doesn't work for everybody, but maybe we can apply a way, we can help that person get over what their issues are, I would include that as a supplemental thing. I can't give it a specific example right now, but that's basically what I would try and do. That's why I look at things.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor, please.
Thank you, Ken, for coming out tonight and appreciate you putting yourself out
Sure.
here and your willingness to serve. At present, seniors in San Leandro are the largest group among youth, adults, and seniors, with seniors consisting of 39% of our population, and in time is expected to grow even larger. What specific measures will you take to cater to the growing senior community?
First of all, I'm one of them. I know I can't tell you my age because you said you wouldn't ask the question, but I can volunteer information, okay? So as a senior who's lived here for 42 years, I will tell you my biggest concern as I get older is I got to go pee all the time. I need a public restroom that's available to me wherever I am. Now, that's a practical issue. That's a practical thing. That's something that I see, if you want to please seniors, you do something about that. I know I go to these businesses around here and I understand the situation about, well, you know, people come in, they mess up our bathrooms, all that kind of, I mean, I get that. And then they want you to buy something, okay? Yes, I can go someplace and get a senior coffee. At one point, senior coffees are 25 cents. Now I guess they're $1. I don't know, whatever it is. But if you want to get down to basics, that's what seniors need. Besides a public safety thing, besides just having, you know, I think in the downtown area would be really good. I'll go back to having, you know, your officers on a bicycle, your beat patrol guys who walk around. People want to feel like they're safe. Although if you have too many police officers, people start to think there's something wrong, right? So there's a certain number you have to get to, but I think I remember earlier on, you know, when I was working here in the downtown area, you would see a bicycle cop all the time and you felt really comfortable if they were around there. And I think if, as a senior, that's something you would want. And I think that would help out for seniors.
Thank you. Next question. In the past few council meetings, we've had quite a showing of youth, many from our high school, very passionate issues that they came out to speak about. We've also had other grades, elementary school, middle school, come to participate in our council meetings. And youth are very important, of course, to our city. They're our future. What would you do and how do you see us better coordinating with our youth? How do we develop a better relationship with our youth here in San Leandro, the city council and the city?
I would suggest, because I've been to those few council meetings where you've had the students here, the social justice students. I totally appreciate what they're trying to do. And as I'm watching this process, the thing that came to my mind was, you know what, we need to get city people, council people, electeds, however you want to word them, to the high school to talk to the kids and tell them either why you can't do what they want you to do or why you won't do what they want you to do. It's making that connection with the kids in their environment that I think helps. It kind of takes away the ego stuff of we want you to do what we want. It takes away the pressure of having to be official, because if you go there as an individual and they know you're a council member or something like that, they'll you know, accept you as kind of official. But the way to do it is go to the kids where they are.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go back down the dais. I think Councilmember Bowen, you still have your mic on. So I'm going to go to Councilmember Azevedo.
I'm sorry, I'm waving my hands. I'm
Hello,
nervous
Ken.
reaction.
Thank you for your willingness to put yourself out there for the community. My first question is, what's your passion or drive to be on the city council? What made you give you the idea, or why did you want to be on the city council?
Couple of things. One is that congestion issue I was talking about earlier. I want to promote the idea of electric two-wheel vehicles as a way to get around town. I want people to get away from driving their cars all over the place because the cars take up too much space. That's one issue. And the other thing was, on the planning commission, we approved a lot of housing to be built around here, and mostly a lot of it's in the downtown area, and none of them were being built, or very few of them were being built. All right. So I said to myself, there must be something else we can do, because we can get people to live downtown. They don't necessarily have to drive everywhere. You know, everything they need is going to be within walking distance. So that's kind of what's driving me, is we need to build that housing in the downtown area. And we need to get people out of their cars. And if I am on the city council, I will ride my moped to every meeting. And if I ride my moped to every meeting, people will start to notice that there's somebody doing something silly that actually works because of the visibility of a council member. And so I think that would help what I'm trying to do.
What issue would you tackle first that we're dealing with here in San Leandro? What big issue would you want to tackle first?
We need to get our public safety numbers up to where they should be. We need the officers here patrolling our streets, high visibility, so that people know that or they'll feel comfortable seeing police officers around. They'll feel very comfortable to come out of their houses and come down to the commercial area. They'll feel comfortable in that they can leave their car somewhere in a parking area and not worry that someone's going to come and take it because there's someone nearby that's watching. That would be the first issue I'd want to tackle. That'd be certainly my number one thing. If this appointment is for a 10-month period, there's not a whole lot of time to do a lot of stuff. And of all the things that can hopefully be solved in a shorter term, that would be the one issue: public safety, visibility. Even the officers on horseback, I don't know what it costs to do that, but even that made people feel comfortable seeing that. Okay.
What ideas or what different, I guess, ideas would you come up with to help recruit police officers? How do you think we could recruit officers better in San Leandro?
Yeah, in the short term, I really don't have a great idea. The only thing that ever comes to anybody's mind is paying more money. I don't think that's necessarily what drives people to come to San Leandro. I know in the time I've been here, I've met a lot of police officers. A lot of them used to like coming here because they felt like they were appreciated by the community. I think the way things have gone in the last couple of years, a lot of officers do not feel appreciated and do not have a desire to come to San Leandro. So that part of getting them to feel like they're appreciated again, I think would take longer than short term. I don't know. I actually have no idea what we can do in a really short period of time. 'Cause I know it takes a long time to train officers. I've learned that over the years. So it's how do we get them to come here from other agencies? That's really the big thing,
Yeah, we have to offer them something that other agencies aren't offering.
which is what I call appreciation. It's not monetary, but I think police officers used to feel appreciated here. I don't think they feel that way anymore. Okay.
So we'll go down the line to Councilmember Aguilar, please.
Thank you, Mayor Gonzalez, and thank you, Ken, for your applying to this process, and congratulations on being one of the top 6.
Thank you.
Thank you for riding your moped around the city. I've seen you ride it when you were campaigning.
You see me on the moped.
I do.
Good.
So the city has over $300 million in unfunded capital improvement projects. We call it CIP. How would you try to solve this issue?
You need money, obviously. And the question is, how do you get people to vote for a bond issue to pay for these things? You have to go out in the community and show them what it is that we need. You can't just tell them, you have to show them what it is we need. And this is part of my days in the school board. One of the issues I went through was passing the school bond. And people didn't trust the school districts because they didn't see where the money went. All right. And they didn't know where the money was going to go. So they were reluctant to support any kind of facility improvement thing. So you had to go out and tell them. You had to go, look, I know this school is in bad shape. We're going to fix that school. I know this one leaks. Let's go show them the leaks. So you bring the people to where you need the facility, or you go out and bring the thing to them so they could actually see it. It's that visibility thing. It's that face-to-face thing. You know as well as I do, when you send out campaign material, it doesn't last very long in anybody's hands. It goes into the trash pretty quickly. I think the face-to-face discussion is really what convinces people to support something. Okay.
Thank you for answering that question. My next question is, in San Leandro, we are moving forward with the navigation center. And we have a lot of folks that are unhoused and folks that have mental health issues. How would you advocate for to move the navigation forward and to partner with services to provide mental health services and wraparound services?
I think if you get people to see the problem, they'll support a resolution to the problem. I think the people who tend to tell you about we need something are those who see, the unhoused sitting on sidewalks or wandering around or whatever. I think you need to to bring that visibility to voters to support it. If it's not in their community or in front of their, their face, they're just not going to accept, your word that it's there. They have to see it. So some way, one way or another, you have to show them, maybe show them a place that people are familiar with, where they do have, kind of people hanging around outside, I'll say. That might help convince people that they need this navigation center. We need a place for people to stay, and we definitely do need that. We definitely don't have enough housing. Even for people who can afford to pay money, we don't have enough housing. So yes, we do. We need to find a way to show it to them, and I think that would be the way to convince them. And once again, my whole premise right now is instead of doing by campaigning by social media, we have to do it really in person. There's enough people out there who just don't believe what they see in social media. You got to really put it in front of them. Okay.
Thank you again. Those are my questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so I'd like to kind of follow up. You've touched on some of this already. Public safety. I really want to spend 2 minutes brainstorming, digging down more into that public safety, because you've identified some strategies, increasing appreciation, noted that money doesn't equal results. But I want to dig more. So just this is your time to say whatever you can possibly come up with on public safety.
I reach back to being here over time. You get the police officer, you get familiar with police officers, you get to know them because you see them all the time. They're your neighbor, they're your friend, the person you see on the street. If you can get police officers to go out there and tell people their story, that why they should be here. And I'm not talking about, once again, I'm not talking about a social media thing. I'm not talking about a YouTube thing. I'm talking about going out to community groups, going out to different agencies, so that you can snatch them from other cities, however you want to word that. I think that would be the way to do it. Now, I don't know if we have officers who have that experience here, but if you did, those are the people I think would convince others to come to San Leandro. So yeah, it's that personal in-face connection that will help.
Let's go to the 300 million. And there's other hundreds of millions, but let's just focus on we need money.
Mhm.
And you talked a little bit about bonds, and I want you to brainstorm with me. Let's go broader than just bonds. Talk about economic development. You can talk about specific taxes, but just run with it and tell me everything that you can tell me in the next couple of minutes.
That probably won't take very long. Other than bonds to fix something, I'm thinking something else. If you can get, what do we call it? Improvement taxes. You get neighborhoods who have crummy streets, and I can figure out some of those neighborhoods. You tell those neighbors there that we don't have enough money to fix your street today. And if we did put it on a schedule, it might be 5 years before we get to your street. Would they be convinced to put money in somehow to create a community improvement district where they are to fix the street in front of them so that they lend money to the city to fix it now? And then when their term comes around, whether it's funded by a general bond or their time comes up to get improvements, they'll get the money paid back. That might be a way to do it. Okay, I can only think of just neighborhoods that want to do, because people do scream about what's in front of their house. And if you give them an option, they might be able to get people together to help you fix that, come up with the financing. I'm not sure what else there is you can do. I think if you ride a bike, you don't have to fix the roads, but that's just me. Am I back on this bicycle thing again? Is that the theme you're hearing from me? Good, because that's really the thing I'm trying to push right now. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what else I can come up with. That's the only idea that comes up to me right now is get the neighborhoods to, maybe they'll do it.
Perfect.
Okay.
So what I'd like to do is then give you another minute to kind of wrap up, to think about if there's any question you want to clarify or answer you want to clarify. This is your time.
Well, besides letting you know that I am someone who looks for change, I don't want to be someplace just so I could have a place to sit all night. I do want to do something, which is why I wanted to be appointed, why I ran for city council. And by the way, when I ran for city council, I did come in second. I didn't win. Selena won, and I congratulate her for doing that, but I did come in second. So there are people to, and I ran on the basis of a lot of what I'm telling you about right now. So I think that tells you that maybe what I had to say resonated with, a certain number of people in town. I think I had like 8,000, 8,700 votes. So there are people who support what I have to say. And I think it would be beneficial. Of course, I'm saying this about myself, for you guys to appoint me, but then that's just my personal opinion. I understand that a little biased over there. But the thing I want to ask you guys that's important to me is, so what is your leadership style? Are you people I can work with? Because you're asking me, if you can work with me, I'm wondering if I can work with you. That's my big question to you guys. And I know you don't have 2 minutes, so you don't have to answer that question.